All right, guys, it's time for the Next Level Guy Show, a men's interview, interest, and improvement-focused podcast featuring interviews with the greats from all industries to help you better your life. Each week, a new episode features an interview with one of the greats, covering all aspects of their story, from life hacks to tips and protocols that have allowed them to live life on the next level. We then highlight concrete action steps that you can use to improve your life. And now, your host, Ian Dawson Mackay.
Every time I've gone through something difficult, it has cracked me open, and from that space, something new could grow. And that's a quote from today's guest. Let's meet Carly Wopat, an athlete, a fighter, and a soul seeker. But what happens when everything you thought defined you, athlete, twin, high achiever, is suddenly gone? For Carly, the answer wasn't to break, it was to rebuild. After the devastating loss of her twin sister Samantha, Carly didn't just survive, she started a relentless journey of transformation. From volleyball stardom to the deep introspection of breathwork, from raw grief to the mental and physical grind of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and firefighting, Carly has reinvented herself time and time again. Every challenge became a doorway to another version of who she could become. Carly is no stranger to pressure. A former US national team volleyball player and 3-time first-team All-American at Stanford, Carly excelled at the highest level of sport while earning a degree in human biology. But it was a personal tragedy, not podiums, that would shape the most important chapter of her life. And in the years since, Carly has become a hybrid athlete and a true force of nature, from boxing and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to trail running and earning the top recruit award in Fire Academy. She's proof that strength isn't just built in the gym, it's built in the moments you choose to keep going. Whether she's coaching, competing, or serving her community as a firefighter, Carly brings a rare blend of heart, grit, and wisdom to everything she does. And in this episode, Carly shares her personal story of loss, resilience, reinvention, and what it means to live a life of real impact. If you're navigating change, chasing purpose, or trying to find your own way through pain, this one's for you. And now, let's get to the interview. I'd like to dedicate this to the memory of Samantha Wopat and to anyone else going through a tough time right now. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's an honor to finally connect with you because I've been wanting to do this for so long because I love your story, I love your commitment to life, etc. But how would you define who you are?
Oh my gosh, that's a loaded question. Can you clarify? How would I define who I am?
If you were in a lift with somebody and you had 30 seconds between floor and they said, "Who are you? What do you do?" What would you say?
See, I hate that question.
It's a difficult one for you.
Yeah, I hate when people ask me, like, what do you do? Let's see. I would say I usually mention I played professional volleyball, so I'm a professional athlete. And now I am a firefighter. But I think there's also, within that professional athletic domain, there's so much more that I do additionally. It's just simpler to say, oh, I just play professional volleyball, because people see my physique and stature, and they just know that I must do something competitively, physically. But yeah, so I also do all kinds of fitness competitions now, and the best or easiest way to describe it is kind of like CrossFit competitions, but really it's hybrid fitness. I've gone into running, cycling, lifting weights, basically I train to be able to take on any challenge that is thrown at me. Um, and that fires me up. I like pushing myself, pushing my limits, and seeing what I can do uh, physically. And then let's see, I've also started coaching a little bit, and that definitely is something I find fulfilling, and I hope to continue to pursue more once I'm through this first year with my new firefighting position. Uh, right now, that's taking up a lot of my time and focus, just building that foundation for my fire department.
So you
So,
wrote, yeah,
yeah, there's a
you
lot of
went from,
different avenues.
so you went from winning trophies and medals to saving lives, to coaching people to then achieve their dreams. You know, you're not that busy. Like it. That's why I wanted to have you on, because there's so many sort of facets to your personality. There's so many amazing things you do. But it was almost like you were made to be an athlete. Like when you were younger, you've talked about how your parents refused to let you watch TV, so they threw you out into enjoying the active, like physical world. You did
Yes.
dancing and gymnastics. And do you think you're always predestined to be a legend on the courts?
I've thought about this. I think I've thought about what I am naturally built for, or I guess you could say destined for, because I do think people are born with dispositions for certain um, talents or skills that they can offer to the world. And for me, I do think uh, it is in the realm of athletics. And volleyball was a sport that I found fit, I think, closest to uh, I guess, like my unique set of gifts, and then also just my genetic predisposition. All that I think aligned very well with volleyball. So that was a very special sport for me. And um, yeah, it took me many places throughout my life and career so far. Uh, and now I think I have started to explore how I can um, express myself, I guess, in other realms of professional athletics, because I found that I was able to compete at the highest level in volleyball on the national team. Um, it actually in indoor and beach, which is quite unique, because a lot of times it's hard for indoor players to make that transition and still be competitive in the sand. Um, but I'm just naturally very strong too. So I found that I can do very well in CrossFit and powerlifting, um, all kinds of stuff. And I think that's part of the reason I was drawn to firefighting, is because I have this natural physical ability to carry weight, and um, I don't know, my upper body is strong, and not many women can do the firefighting job, just because it is very physical and demanding. And I was like, you know what? I think that's something I can do, and it would be, I don't know, I felt like it would be a waste not to explore that niche and show that women are capable of doing the job as well. So I think that was part of the reason I was drawn to it, is just you don't see many women doing it.
No, I think it's
Yeah.
a great answer, because you always seem to push yourself and achieve these amazing feats that are, you break the barriers that are put in front of you. Your parents are teachers. Did they instill
Mhm.
that sort of work ethic, that kind of that you just gave your best to everything, and that's why it kind of motivated you as much as the sort of the bond you had with your siblings, all the sort of cross training, etc. That they gave you the work ethic, and then the gift, and you developed the gifts through playing sports as you grew.
For sure. I think I just grew up with this idea that whatever you're doing, you give 100% your best. And I think it started, I remember doing math homework at the kitchen table when I was a kid, and my parents were really big on showing all of your work, not just writing the answer, but showing how you came to that conclusion.
I hated that in
Um,
school.
yeah. So,
Yes.
and they were very particular. Like, we had to fold our paper in half, write our name and date in the upper right hand corner, and then number along the left hand side, show all your work, circle your answer. And if we didn't do all of that, I remember they'd be like, okay, well, now you have to redo it over again. And I remember just
Yikes.
crying and redoing my math homework. But it, if you think about just that single action, it was instilling a lot of important life lessons and just qualities. I think how you do something is always more important than the end result. And they were teaching just like that you have to show your process of thinking and how you come to conclusions is even more important than just the right answer. And then being able to explain that and show your work to your teacher and to other people, and also just having that um, organization and discipline to write it all out. So that's just one example. We also had chores growing up, and I learned how to like fully clean the bathroom and scrub the baseboards and bleach the toilets and everything.
I'm still
Um,
not able to do that, and I'm 40 on.
yeah. So, and honestly, that was. I remember I have fond memories of cleaning. It was fun for me to tackle a project and then see my finished product and result. I think that's always been very satisfying for me. That's one of the reasons why I like building things. I kind of have this creative mind as well, just because I like to see an end product of my effort and work. Um, yeah, but yeah, they instilled hard work, aspects of discipline, but I also had just like a super fun and happy childhood. I was outside a lot playing sports. My parents, I grew up in a beautiful place, Santa Barbara, so it was kind of like being in a bubble. And my parents just provided a lot of opportunities and resources, um, and made my childhood really fun. Went to a lot of camps, so I look back and I'm definitely really grateful for all of that. But yeah, that I think that drive to do my absolute best in whatever I'm doing has proven to be a double-edged sword at times, because uh, it can turn into um, a sense of perfectionism, like nothing is ever enough. So I've had to
No.
learn also to do my best, and then your best looks different at different times as well. So your best with the set of circumstances on this day, um, yeah, and it's not always going to look the same.
Because you said you used your twin sister as sort of a reflection of your own ability. And for
Mm-hmm.
people like, I mean, I've got a younger sister, older brother, so about. I mean, I know what it's like growing up with siblings, but how do you kind of balance that with somebody who is literally one half of you? Like, and how then did you sort of use that kind of focus on you? Because you must have got a lot of attention being the twin athletes, and people are always trying to make you compete against each other. Or did you find any sort of pressure in school? How did you keep it just enjoying the sport as much as playing, and but using each other as a kind of way to propel yourselves bigger and better?
Uh-huh. I think having a twin was kind of like uh, a secret weapon of ours as far as how successful, I guess, quote unquote. Just looking at our grades and volleyball, and we were lucky to earn scholarships to go to Stanford University, which was our dream school, and that's definitely a very challenging college to get into. But growing up, we had each other to. It was kind of like this push-pull dynamic. Um, I would see, and we were each other's greatest cheerleaders as well. But when I would see, for example, if we're learning to ride bikes, and I think she was able to ride a bike without the training wheels first, and I see her do it, and knowing that she's my twin, it makes me go, oh, you know what? I can do that too. I want to do that as well. And then I get out there and I push myself to reach that level that she's at. So it's constantly like I move up a notch or I accomplish something. She sees that. She's like, you know what? I can do that too. And then she moves up. And it's also, I mean, we had like a built-in buddy and best friend. So you can go out and do workouts together or pepper in the backyard or work on homework together. You just have this extra brain to bounce ideas off of. So I think we definitely, being a twin was a big part of our successes early on in life and in sport, and then also academics.
Because you both did fantastic. I mean, you were like stars in high school to get into Stanford. You know, you did amazing achievements there. How did you deal with that pressure, though? You know, like, because I would have been an arrogant, egocentric. Well, I've got an older brother, so I probably wouldn't have been allowed to be. But you know, you were performing with like massive fans. How did you juggle, try study, you know, train to just be your have a personality in addition to all the other stuff, and you're being judged on your looks as well in school as well as your results on the court? How did you both balance that? You know, because it must have been a hellish in some ways.
I think it was challenging. I remember, I think senior year of high school was the hardest point. We were in the engineering academy at our high school, and that was taking up a lot of after school time. We were building a robot for competitions. We were doing after school track and field, so we'd go out to practice and then come back and work on engineering stuff, and then go to club volleyball practice around 7 p.m., get back home at 9 p.m., and then we'd have to do all our homework and go to bed. And I just remember feeling overwhelmed, and I could tell it was too much for us at that time, but I don't think we really knew how to like verbalize or express that, and we just did it and got through it. But I think it was a lot, and if something had to give, I think it would have been wise to drop the engineering academy program. But I don't know. I think looking back and knowing that we got through that challenging period has built a level of resilience. I just don't think I don't think it was entirely necessary. The amount that was on our plate at that time. But I did, going into college and having juggled a lot in high school, I learned how to time manage very well. And I think that just takes some experimentation and learning how you work best. High school academics was honestly pretty easy for me because I felt like teachers would tell you what you had to do, and if you just did it, you would get A pluses. You just completed your work, and yeah, it wasn't that hard. But going into college, it was, I mean, there was there wasn't that much accountability. There was assignments and readings assigned, but nobody's checking to see if you do your work. So I had to learn different ways of studying, and then um, being a student athlete was also really challenging because you're going to classes, you have weights in the morning, and then practice in the afternoon, you eat dinner. And by the time evening rolled around, I would just be so tired, I could hardly focus on studying. So I started waking up early in the morning at maybe 6 a.m. and studying. My best 2 hours of studying were first thing in the morning, then go into my classes. Yeah, it just took, I think it takes a while to figure out how you function best and then how to start managing your time when you're being pulled in a bunch of different directions.
I mean, do you think that's part of? I mean, we probably could do a podcast on the sports industry. You know, the sort of funneling of kids from college into these like national leagues and stuff, and it's become
Mhm.
a big industry. Do you think that's part of what we don't appreciate as people watching from the outside? Is the pressure that is put on athletes to kind of you're wanting to play the sport because you love it, but you're almost like they take it and make a job out of it almost that like how do you deal with that at such a young age? I mean, there's no support. Is there support in terms of how you can learn to be an athlete, or is it just deal with it? You should be glad of the opportunity.
Um, I think there's a lot more support systems established now in terms of counselors and uh, just resources set up for student athletes, and I think it's been made more aware that the pressures are pretty much higher than ever. Um, and it's difficult to talk about too because you look around and it doesn't seem like other people are struggling. When
Nobody
I know
wants
it's
to
called,
give an inch. Yeah.
yeah, it's called the duck syndrome. So everyone's paddling fiercely under the water, but on the surface, it looks like they're just gliding along.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, really, you're all kind of in that together. So I think that's been more recognized as time has gone on. But I think it's only going to get worse, honestly, because now college, I mean, at that time, um, we weren't able to make money based off of image and likeliness in college. And now, with new regulations passed, a lot of college athletes are making a lot of money um, by playing NCAA sports and securing sponsorship deals. Um, and I think just having that kind of uh, I don't know, just media following and being in the face or
Like Livy done.
public, yeah, being in the
Yeah.
public image so much. Um, it's there's so many pros and cons to it. It's great because they're able to, I think, like capitalize on what the university is profiting on quite a bit, which is their image and likeliness. But I don't think it's healthy mentally to um, be making so much at that time, and I think it just concerns me about how they'll do after college, um, and if that's what they learn to place their value in. What happens when that's taken away or things change? Yeah.
I mean, do you think that's how something that you and Sam struggled with was that in a way that non-twins would know about because people would judge you both as a reflection of each other, like, and was there a moment that you thought, I can actually go somewhere with this? This isn't just a college sport I'm going to play. This is a potential, like the Olympics. This could be something like I could become a superstar in this. but then do you think Sam struggled in that kind of bouncing off that what you were doing based off what she was doing and what people expected from, reality versus expectations?
For sure. Um, I think there definitely was a moment where I started to realize that I could go play professionally and had opportunities with the national team, and that the sport was going to take me to the next level. Um, I don't think really until like my junior or senior year that started to become more apparent. But I was just focused on winning a national championship and showing up fully for every collegiate match. Uh, but yeah, inherently being a twin, it can also be a struggle. Just trying not to compare yourself to, um, I guess, the successes of your twin, and um, not taking it to heart when other people inevitably compare you as well. Um, it can be just pretty hurtful psychologically when yeah, I guess like just feeling like people are constantly comparing the way you look, um if you're taller, shorter, um stronger, um doing better uh academically or on the court. uh yeah, so I think that's always a bit of a challenge with twins, but also like siblings. I think kind of have that rivalry as well. Or I guess no one wants to be compared. You want to be your own person. So
Like I had a very smart sister and brother, and he was very like sporty, and I was very fat. So I never felt like whatever I did. I felt like the black sheep. I never felt like what I did was enough compared to him. And now, obviously, with the podcast, and I realized a lot of mine was more creative rather than sporty. And I think sometimes there's too much emphasis put on sports and titles and things like that, rather than what you're going to do after it all goes away and the change of identity, etc. When
yeah,
Sam, yeah, you tragically lost Sam when you were younger, and that would have destroyed people. But you used it almost as a way to, once you kind of got started dealing with the grief, how on earth did you not just let it just crumble you at that point? What was it? You've talked about, using a pottery class, being creative, but how did you deal with the anger, the upset, and be expected to continue playing and dealing with all this other stuff? Because that is phenomenal character strength.
yeah. It was a challenge for sure, and I think it took some it took some time. I had to take I had a quarter. Yeah, the following quarter, I had to take a lighter load of courses. And that got approved by the university just because I had a really hard time focusing in classes after that. Um, and I just wanted to be around friends and people, and having, I guess, losing her, I think, changed my perspective on life a little bit. And I'd be sitting in a class listening to a lecture, and I'd be like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Like, I could
Mm-hmm.
be out there living, and it didn't stack up or make sense to me. So I think it took a little bit of time to um, wrap my brain around the importance of finishing my degree. And um, I think losing her also kind of lit up this fighter in me. I didn't want that to be my downfall or something that, I guess, a turn in my life that led me down a negative trajectory. I just kind of was like, F that, like, that's not how this is going to go. And um, yeah, so I had just like this fire to uh, go in the other direction and prove that, I know, those like darker or more negative perspectives wrong.
Do you think it
Yeah.
kind of helped that you were using the poetry, the photography, the guitar to be creative and express the grief out, and then
Yep.
but you also were playing, so you could also let out that emotion, and you were sort of playing for yourself as much as her. Did it?
Yes, I think outlets of expression were definitely really important to me, and volleyball remained something very. I remember it when everything felt like it was chaotic and changing. My one constant was volleyball, and I could go and I could just put all of this like energy into the game and hit the ball as hard as I could, and just like get this this energy out of me, and I could express myself. Um, and I also was taking a lot of art electives, film photography, sculpture, painting, um, and I think that allowed me to also express myself in a variety of mediums. And I still crave that all the time. It's funny. I always want to be creating something or finding ways I can express myself and share with the world.
I mean, I'm sure she would be super proud of everything you've achieved, and you know, I'm sure that she's with you every step of the way. And why do you think the Invictus, Captain of Your Soul poem, why do you think that connected with you at that time and spoke to you in a way?
Uh, there were a couple. It was funny when she passed. One of the things that really surprised me was this outpouring of just love from so many people, not only at Stanford and I know our community in Santa Barbara, but literally all over the nation. We started getting letters from people who just wanted to express their condolences and um, share that they perhaps had a similar loss, and it just resonated with them, and it just made me feel uh, like I wasn't so alone in the grief, and that I was just shocked by how many people care. Honestly, I've never experienced something like that. And one of the poems I think someone mentioned, or this, it was the last stanza of Invictus by William Ernest Henley. And it goes, "It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul." And that really struck a chord with me. And I um, just carried it with me forward from that moment on. And then later on in the past year, I read the whole poem and ended up memorizing it. And now it's become like a personal mantra of mine. Um, so, yeah, it's definitely a special poem for me. I'm trying to remember another one. I carry you. It's it goes. I carry you in my heart. Let me see if I can find this. Oh yeah, I carry your heart with me by E. E. Cummings. Uh, Here's the deepest secret nobody knows. Here's the root of the root and the bud of the bud and the sky of a tree called life which grows higher than this soul can hope or mind can hide. And this is the wonder that's keeping the stars apart. I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. That's another one that resonated. But Yeah, Invictus turned into an idea called Operation Invictus, and that's been, I think, like a something that motivates me in training or um, in fire. Just anytime anything gets hard, I push through when I think of it.
I love how honest and vulnerable you can be about it, because when I lost my grandparents, I was devastated, and I tried to bottle it up, not speak about it, and it destroys you inside. And I think that's amazing, the way that you can be open and tell people about it, and you're probably helping so many people who are going through similar situations. You said you went to therapy. I've tried CBT, NLP, etc. How did you find therapy? Was it a chance to kind of? I think you just said you wanted to spit in fear's face and just take on the
Yeah.
world. How did that realization come about? You know, that you were going to tackle the world for you and Sam and going forward.
I don't know. That was just my gut reaction. I think grief. Everyone has their own different way of grieving and processing, and you could see it within my own family. We all processed our grief in different ways, and for me, I just felt like spitting in the face of fear, and yeah, it lit up that fighter in me, and um, what was your question? Sorry. I don't
It
know.
was just about, like, how did you find that? Because you started again at that point. You know, you went to
Yes.
become a first responder.
Mhm.
You went out and did amazing things. But how did you kind of deal? Like, how did you find therapy? Did you find it
Oh,
beneficial?
therapy. The therapy question. Yes. No, I hated therapy. I I just went to it because I thought I had to. My parents wanted me to, honestly. But I found it so weird to be talking to some random person I didn't know. I was like, why should I tell you any of this? Like, it's not gonna. You wouldn't get it. You haven't lost a twin sister, so. And then I hated when they would act like I know they did understand. I'm like, no, you don't. So I think, yeah, it was hard. I didn't see the any benefit, I think, in talking to a therapist. Um, Maybe I wasn't talking. I just didn't find one I could connect with.
Hmm.
But yeah, I didn't find much value in that. So I just talked to a lot of friends, and I also took up journaling and um, found a lot of benefit in that, and I felt like I could fully express my thoughts and develop self awareness um, through journaling, and it's private. Nobody else. It's just like it's basically like a conversation with myself. And so for me, I really enjoyed that. And then, yeah, as time has gone on, I've been able to talk more and more about Sam and her passing, and it's just gotten easier every time. And I think as I've also continued to um, process and understand more about uh, what happened, um, I've been able to come to terms with it as well. And I think just the stigma around suicide and the there's just a lot of like feelings of guilt and shame, and it it sucks. So I think that definitely added a layer of difficulty with it. Um, but I'm at a pretty good place now. I've tried therapy again since, and I still hated it. So I just I don't think it's for me. Again, maybe I just haven't found the right person, but I talk to close friends, and that works for me.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like it much after a while because it finds you keep the problem alive. You keep scratching
Yeah.
the wound rather than dealing with like action steps. And it's only when you actually start taking action on top of that, you start going, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you talked in another interview where I think you spoke to a volleyball coach about your whys in training. In a training camp, you all got up and said like your whys, you were there, why you were competing, why you were training, etc. Do you think
hmm
your whys now changed at that point? Did what happened with Sam? Did that motivate you then to think about going into first response, to serve other people, to go and be the difference maker in a sense?
For sure. I think losing her has definitely been a big part of my why for a lot of the things I've done since. Um, yeah, going into firefighting, uh, I just felt I didn't feel entirely fulfilled playing volleyball, and I felt like I mean, I had this college degree and these physical abilities, and I was using them to do amazing things on the court. But I was like, how much value is that really providing? Like, yes, it's inspiring, and um, I know I can do some pretty great things there. But what if I use my physical abilities to actually save a life or to put out a fire? Um, that seems so much more real and rewarding to me. So I actually got interested in military as well, and fire, and looked into different avenues, but determined that I think firefighting is the best fit for me. Uh, there's also a big team component to firefighting, which really appealed to me because I really like working with other people and being a part of a team and feeling like you're accomplishing something greater than yourself.
Hmm.
Uh, and I could use my knowledge, I guess. We do a lot of emergency medicine, so I felt like I was using some component of my human biology degree, which was important to me. And then, yeah, it is actually very paramilitary, and that appealed to me as well. Just the structure, the discipline you have to exercise, and the chain of command. Um, I've always been a bit drawn to that.
I've got a load of respect for you because I certainly couldn't be as articulate about it and be as open about it. Even now, I feel myself getting choked up when I think back to other friends who've drowned and things like that. And it's something that we're not taught about. Is how to grieve, how to be open. There's that Andrew Garfield one where he was on about how it's just grief is untapped love. It's just love that you can't tell that person, and in a way grief is a good thing because it means it's how much you love that other person. And I think in the
Mm,
way that you've used yours to kind of inspire to go and help other people is something that you should be damn proud of. I mean, it's very few people that go and do that and go and try, give up a potential money making tour and offers and all that to go and save people. It's you're I don't appreciate how I was going to say unusual you are, but not many people do that, and that's
thank
rare.
you.
I mean, to give up and help other people, we need more people like that in life.
It's time for a quick break. There are millions of potential products to buy, so how do you know which ones are worth your hard-earned money? Simple. You go to nextlevelguy.com/affiliates and explore those that will transform and improve your life. You'll find deals, listener exclusives, and special offers with some great companies. Recommendations are 100% honest and only on items Ian has tried or believes in. The companies showcased will make you a better man in all areas of your life. Simply go to nextlevelguy.com/affiliates and level up.
how did you use your sporting prowess and to get through the training? Like, did you find that you working with your teammates in the volleyball court helped you with the brotherhood in the fire station? How did you kind of assimilate into that team as much as you did on the court?
Similar into the firefighting team.
Oh, sorry, the firefighter. Yeah.
Um, it's definitely different. One aspect being I'm working with a bunch of guys instead of girls. And
Did you find what was the main difference in that, apart from probably the humor?
oh, it's very different. Yeah, I think I've had to just learn how to get down with guy humor, which I do think is really funny. And um, now I can joke around with them. And um, I think that's a big aspect of whether you're going to enjoy your time there or not. Um, and then I think earning your respect among men is different than earning your respect among women as far as being on a team. A lot of it comes down to trust. Like, you have to prove that they or like earn their trust and that you can do the job. And when you're put under pressure, can you still perform? And then also, like, can you carry them out of a fire if it comes down to that? Um, and so, yeah, a lot of it is physicality. Um, Whenever we have done workouts or physical things in fire academy, um, I think that's where you show or prove a lot of your worth. Uh, with women, a lot of it, I think is communication. And yeah, I just remember like getting really good at developing my communication skills with my teammates and especially beach volleyball when it's just you and one other partner. It's basically like being in a relationship, and you have to um, learn that person inside and out, what they mean when they say this on the court, their um, facial expressions, body language, how you can help them when they're in a rut or feeling down, like what they need. Sometimes people want you to say something or pump them up. Other times that doesn't work and can rub them the wrong way. So I think just getting like really um, emotionally in touch with my teammates and communicating was a big aspect of uh, working with female teammates, whereas with the guys, it's all about building that trust and respecting each other.
I was going to say, there's probably that girl, the girls, it's more about the emotional connection, where with guys, it's
Yeah,
more results driven almost sometimes. And can you take a really filthy joke? I think
yeah.
but I love the way that you can bond with both. You figured out how, you obviously got a high level of emotional intelligence of you figured out how to get a part of the team. But the problem with shift work, I mean, I've done night shifts and they were hell. They can be soul destroying. You seem to be somebody that needs to be just moving forward, always challenging yourself, always getting better and better and trying new things. How did you
Mhm.
find that chance to suddenly stop? I know you like to read and play the guitar and stuff, but when you're sitting in the station on your away from home, how did you deal with like the emotions? Did you get a chance to stop and think? Were you journaling, or did you use the danger, the emotions around the call outs as a way to kind of channel your focus on something?
Um, I don't. Well, first of all, I don't find running calls really that challenging. I think I just kind of click into this um, work mode, and I just do whatever needs to be done. Um, and even when I get back to the station, I'm still working. There's always, right now, especially being a new firefighter, you're constantly cleaning the station, studying, making sure the engine and all the tools on it are clean, ready to run. Your medical bag has to be checked, and you have to just constantly be doing kind of an inventory of all your equipment. So I run calls, and then when I'm back at the station, I'm still working. But I try to take little moments to myself, to maybe like 10 minutes of meditation. Working out is a great outlet, and my fire department is very supportive of physical fitness, not only for obviously the physical demands of the job, but also the mental health benefits. I think a lot of the fire service is progressing in terms of recognizing the unique needs, I think, of first responders, and the I don't know, the negative effects on your health it can have. And working out is just a big one in terms of burning off cortisol, improving your mood. So working out is, I think, one of my times to myself, and then I'll try to take some time to journal or meditate at least once throughout the day, but you kind of never stop moving. So,
because that's what I found is physical exercise was the best thing when I was depressed and anxiety and stuff, and it kind of just makes you center, be part, or using that, was it the five senses trick? What can you see? What can you hear? What can you feel? What can you taste? Etc. And it gets you to zone in on that moment and center. What is that? Like serving taught you about what we're capable of? Because you see people at their worst days a lot of times. Like they're broken down car, or burning houses, etc. What has it taught you about what you're capable of, about what we are capable of if we really kind of push ourselves?
it's hard, honestly. Just seeing the highs and lows of humanity. Sometimes I think we're better off ignorant and only seeing the good, because then that's all you know and all you can really aspire to. But yeah, seeing people at their worst, especially the homeless population, drug addictions, poverty, housing situations, domestic violence, all of that stuff. It definitely takes a toll, and dang. I think I've just learned to compartmentalize a little bit, but I walk away just, I guess, with like a newfound gratitude for what I have, but also just this. I mean, people end up that way for a reason. So it makes you question a lot of things about like society and choices people make. And then I just never want to end up in a situation like that, or see anyone I know end up in those kinds of places. So yeah, you see definitely both ends of the spectrum, and I don't know. So I'm honestly, I think, sometimes it'd be better if you were left ignorant, but I think the perspective, you have a full perspective of what's out there, and I think you need that to make sound decisions, and to just see society's problems more entirely in the whole. And then I think for understanding politics and bigger things going on, it can be, I guess, a benefit.
Yeah, I mean, I've done some work with the police, and I know what you mean about you'd rather be ignorant. You wouldn't want to know about some of the stuff that goes on, or how.
No, it's terrible stuff. Yeah,
How
and people just get so sick in the head and physically too. And then, like, we go to what's it called, convalescent homes, or there's some homes where they keep just like people with disabilities or mental disabilities, and you go in for call and look around and you're just like, oh, I do not want to ever end up in a place like this.
I mean, it gives you that gratitude or making the changes now. How did you find that balance between, because you've always been, Carly, the badass, who's always been the best of the best. How did you find being the beginner again, being that person learning, being the newbie that gets hazed to do all the grunt work? And you started playing volleyball again at that time as a kind of release. So how did you accommodate that two sides, that change in identity back to the athlete as much as the first responder?
Sorry, can you state the question again?
I've got a tendency to throw about 9 questions into one. But, how did you find the balance between training and go back to compete as well? So you were being the beginner at that level, but you're also being a top level volleyball player. How did you find that switch between the two?
Yes. Yeah, it was challenging for sure, going from being or competing at the highest level and I guess I could call myself an expert in the field of volleyball, professional. And then going into firefighting and being just at the bottom of the totem pole and a complete beginner. But I like learning things, and I like that process of climbing a ladder and always having something next to look up to and push for. So I've always liked learning things, and I guess like being a beginner. But yeah, it's still, I think it has its challenges. It just takes a lot of work and a lot of time, and investment, and it can be exhausting, constantly beginning again. So like I put in so many years into volleyball to get to where I was, and now I'm going to have to do the same thing with firefighting. And part of me is always like, oh, I want to learn this. I want to do this. I could go do this. But I have to remind myself, like, it takes, if you really want to be good at something, it takes years and years to develop those skills. And there's no getting around putting in the time. And you have to be willing to do all of that work. So, yeah, there's only so many times you can really begin again, and I don't want to keep doing it. Yeah.
Is that where like you go and do the go rack and the like high rocks and all these kind of competitions where you can develop your skills, nuances, you can develop your speed, your cognitive, behavioral patterns, etc. But you're not having to go and relearn. It's not like learning French or Greek or something. You can just go out and let yourself express yourself.
Yeah. Yes, I love those competitions. And I've also realized that there is a lot of crossover. So what qualities and skills made me really good at professional volleyball, if I take those and use them in the firefighting realm, I'm going to be likely very successful. It's those things that made me really good there that will make me really good here. So it's not, in a sense, you're not really starting from ground zero, because everything I've done leading up to this point has made me into this person. And if you, no matter what, I guess, arena you put me in, I know how to perform. I know how to function under pressure. I know how to learn quickly, retain information. I can listen. I can follow orders. And all of that, I think, is are key attributes to being able to perform and do what you have to do in the moment. So yeah, I went and competed in Go Ruck and the Go Ruck Games, and ended up winning that, and just started to find a lot of success in these competitions that make you perform in the moment in a variety of disciplines, I guess. They're very gritty. You have to use mental game as well as physical, and kind of push yourself to your limits. But I had already had done that in volleyball. I started doing martial arts as well, and I think jiu-jitsu and boxing taught me a lot. So all these different things have crossover, and they just continue to compound and build you into a stronger person.
Because that's what I remember watching. There was a video you did with, I can't remember which company, and it was like, you were saying about how you lived out the back of your car. You had your jiu-jitsu gi in there, in with your volleyball stuff. You had your foam roller. Is that what you think we don't realize about professional athletes, people doing this at a high level, that you have to be able to good at timeshare? You have to be able to live your life out a car, that you're not enjoying the millions of pounds you make. You're just literally pushing yourself, coming home in agony and having to deal with your recovery and these sorts of things. What don't we understand about doing sports at a high level that you think we should know?
Well, first, I never lived out of my car.
Well,
Thankfully.
living at the back of it, sorry.
Yeah, no, but I did. I put all this equipment in the trunk of my car, and it still is like that. Like, I have, I think, 20 pairs of shoes in the back of my car right now. I have climbing gear. I have a weightlifting belt, a jiu-jitsu gi, boxing gloves, a tripod for when I was filming my volleyball practices. Yeah, there's everything in the back of that. So when I was training a lot, I would leave the house for the day, and I wouldn't come back until the evening. So I just had everything I needed in my car. And honestly, I think that I was the happiest I've ever been. I would go to the beach, play or have beach volleyball practice, jump in the ocean, go to the gym, do a volleyball workout, go to lunch with friends, go to a coffee shop, do some work, then I'd come back and do jiu-jitsu or boxing, a CrossFit class, go to another gym and sauna. I was just like constantly surrounded by people who were great energy, also pursuing other things. Yeah, and I had so many different networks and circles too. It was great energy all the time. And I would go to bed so tired and sore, and then wake up the next day and do it all over again. And yeah, I could do that probably every day of my life, but financially,
doesn't pay the bills.
It doesn't pay the bills. Yeah. So, and I've always been, I think, envious of NBA athletes, NFL, just all these athletes who get these big contracts and they're able to make a living living that lifestyle every day. And I've always been like, why can't I have that? But I think it came down to it. I was just like, okay, well, you have to work. And sometimes work means doing something you don't like doing all the time. And you have, I don't know, you have your work and you do it, and then you build your passions on the side. Maybe at some point your passions take a turn and they can support you financially more than your work does. But if you look at the most financially successful people, they didn't get there by playing sport and, I don't know, not working. They got there by grinding and just doing things they didn't want to do, being really smart with money, investing it. So I want to be someone who ends up, I guess, financially free and not having to worry about money and retirement and on all of those things. And I want to also provide great things for a future family, if that is something in my cards too. So just embrace the idea of having to work.
Yeah. I know that feeling, getting up and seeing, you get these guys that are paid £30,000-40,000 for kicking a ball about, and they're like, why am I having to go in every day and slashing my guts out? But I think that's the beauty of having a jiu-jitsu Carly, a firefighting Carly. You scratch your creative itches at home, you then do your work stuff, but you also play the different sports, and you have your different groups of people that lets you just be you in that moment. You're not what's happened in the past or what's in the future or what's trophies, etc. They just like you for you. And I think that definitely helps. That it's like that brotherhood thing we talked about earlier. But you also do a lot of cognitive stuff. You mentioned in another interview about how you did gratitude journaling. Then you reflected on what's bothering you. You did like a brain dump out. You did some meditation, visualization. Do you still use these kind of practices? Because I haven't really used visualization as much as I probably should be. How do you find these cognitive enhancement tools work for you?
Yes, I still do or practice a lot of those things. Journaling I do almost daily, either in the morning or evening. I've gotten more in the habit of doing it in the evening, and I call it day debrief, and I'll just look at myself as a third person and go through my day, usually with my eyes closed, and just kind of visualize, okay, what was I doing? Where was my mind? How was I feeling? What did I learn? Is there anything I can do better? And what were my successes? And usually by doing that, I realize, wow, first of all, I did a lot this day and it was a great day. I'm working towards my goals. I hit these numbers in the gym. I ate well, fueled myself, took steps towards recovery. I did accomplish this task I needed to do. I studied, did laundry, washed my car. I don't know, whatever I had planned for the day. So it's really nice to look back and get the sense of accomplishment. And again, I think it all depends on what I'm trying to do in that day, because some days my main goal might be to recover, and so I'm just going to try to do basically nothing, and it might be to just like fully enjoy the day and be present with people I'm with, or it could be a day where I'm just trying to knock out like as many tasks as possible. So the day debrief really helps with that, and then just kind of like self-awareness, if I could handle something better, or sometimes I'll realize, you know what, I was on my phone on social media a lot, and I think that made me, I started to feel like anxious or like my life was lacking, and that's probably tied to looking at social media. So I should stay off my phone more tomorrow. So it just helps give me guidance, I think, for the next day and decisions. Visualization has always been a favorite of mine, especially when I was competing, because I would close my eyes and just visualize the whole match and that feeling of being out on the court and um, winning a point, celebrating with my partner, and then even like I'd visualize making a mistake and then how I would respond and come back from that. Now it's a bit harder to do, but I'll try to, because I'm not like visualizing something as concrete as a volleyball match, but I'll try visualizing my future, um, just what I hope it looks like um, waking up in the house that I hope to have one day, um, where I am in my career with fire, uh, having a family, and just like starting to visualize. I think those things begins to manifest them a little bit. Uh, Meditating. Um, Again, I'm trying to do more, but I did meditate this morning for about 10 minutes. I also find meditating in like ice baths or saunas or during yoga. Those are good times just to kind of bring your awareness into your body and your breath and stop that thought flow for a little bit. Um, yeah, I think I'm definitely, I try to incorporate as many of those into my day to day routine because I continue to just notice benefits.
I mean, you've played at some of the highest levels. You're saving lives. You're coaching. You got a phenomenal website. You've done pretty much everything that most people would aspire to be. But what are goals for you now? You said you had wanted to win medals at the Olympics. Is that still something you want to do, or have they changed? What's your why now, or what's your goals that you've set for yourself now?
My goals have definitely changed. I think there's a point where I asked myself, like, um, what is more rewarding to me, winning a gold medal at the Olympics or um, having this fire career where I help people for 20 plus years and make positive impact in a very direct way. And for me, I think the fire career is more fulfilling. So I had to let go of the Olympic dreams with volleyball. With this career, it's just impossible to do both of those at the same time. And then also, I think um, financially, I was just ready to find something more secure and um, just concrete. It's too inconsistent. Um, and for the future and the things that I hope to have, it was time to kind of make that turn. Uh, so yeah, my goals right now I kind of like to think of like 1 year goals, 5 year goals, 10 year goals, and so forth. For this year, I'm um, thinking of a year of investment. So just investing in this new fire career, building a strong reputation. I still have to get through probation, so technically I'm not off the chopping block yet, and I'm being tested a lot, um, having to train a lot, absorb a lot of information, and it really is just an important year, I think, for setting yourself up for a successful career. So that's, I think, my main focus. And then investing in quality relationships. I have a boyfriend, so investing in our relationship, and then family, friends. I want to work on just reaching out to friends and keeping those connections, because that's something I could definitely improve on. And then investing, investing financially, because I do hope to buy a house, for example, in Santa Barbara at some point, and it's expensive here. So I am just learning a lot about how I can be really smart with my money. And thankfully, I was pretty smart with what I made playing professionally for volleyball. But I know that these first few years in a job, in this firefighting job, we have like a pension and deferred comp, and I max out my deferred comp from the start. That's going to pay big dividends in the long run. So, just working and investing. And then I do want to start competing more after this year's up. So I'm starting to think about what kind of competitions I would like to do. And I've still been training really hard and just building my fitness. So I'm excited to get out there and kind of show my new strengths eventually. And then coaching, kind of figuring out where I want to turn, I don't know, my coaching focuses, but I'm thinking of leaning more towards first responders and coming up with some programs for them, just because I have that kind of insight and years, I guess, of competing in different realms. So that, I think, could be something I can offer.
I love that.
And then all the
I love that idea of you're going to use your sporting prowess to then help the firefighters and first responders to be fit for the jobs, because I don't think we give them enough credit at times, especially in today's society where the Kardashians are famous. Not the person who goes into a burning building to pull somebody out to save their life. We've got it backwards. And I mean, that's probably a lot of your introspection, your analytical brain from the engineering stuff when you were younger. You've got your head screwed on. You know what you're going after. How did your training away? You played in, is it China and Italy and these sorts of places?
Uh-huh.
What did that teach you about life? And what's important?
Yeah. I am super grateful for the time I got to play overseas. I played in a year in France, a year in Turkey, a year in Japan, and a year in China. And being able to live in those different countries just gave me a worldly perspective, and I got to learn about a lot of different cultures, languages, just how people live in different parts of the world. But the greatest thing I walked away with was this appreciation for living in America, because we have it so good here. And there's always going to be political turmoil and just things you can complain about. But in the grand scheme of things, we have like very strong infrastructure, waste management, an education system, healthcare. Our healthcare kind of sucks, but
well, it makes you grateful.
We still have healthcare. Yeah, and it is. I mean, I had to go to the hospital in Turkey because I got zoster virus. I don't know. I was sick, um, and it was really just like I remember it's not great medical facilities and care there. Um, and yeah, our healthcare system is just kind of corrupt, and but still we have things available to us. So yeah, I think overall, just walking away with an appreciation for um, what I do have as an American.
Hmm.
Uh,
No, it's when you see what some
yeah,
people have in their, especially like places like Syria and all these sort of things just now, it makes you appreciate we are in stable economies, we are in stable situations. You're not having to worry about family members getting killed and, all these sorts of things.
yeah.
But
Just like in Turkey, I was living in an apartment, and there was uh, a war going on with the Kurdish people, and there were suicide bombings going on all throughout the city. And there were days where I wasn't allowed to leave my apartment. Um, just dangerous things. Their political leader was super corrupt, and everyone hated him. And um,
you could say that about any country just now, to be honest.
yeah, you could say that about any country. But yeah, I think it just gave me greater perspective. And yeah, I got an idea of how other cultures and people live, which has definitely served me well. And then also, I just felt, I think, respect for differences.
Hmm.
And
I mean, that'll make you a
um,
better coach, a better player, a better partner, teammate, be better serving the public, etc., because you can understand people and where they're coming from. But
mhm.
say you're 99 years old, Carly's had this amazing life, she's done everything, and you're sitting looking back. What do you want your legacy to be? Because you seem to just go from strength to strength. But what would you want to be remembered for?
That's a good question. I have asked myself this. I think overall, I want to be remembered for being a good leader and making positive impact for all kinds of people. Inspiring people to do hard things and go after their dreams as well. Yeah, I think overall, I hope to touch as many people as possible in some way. And I don't really know exactly how I'm going to do that, but um, I'll try.
Well, I think
I think,
you've done it a lot through your playing, being open and honest after Sam's passing, about doing the coaching, inspiring people by your playing, serving your community. You're doing it in so many different facets of your life. You should be proud of what you're doing now. I know you'll go and have 59 goals from now, yeah, because I know you'll be pushing till the day you drop, but it feels like literally 5 minutes, but I'd love to have you back on again and go into different things later on. But what would you want
yeah.
people to take from this? Because I know I've used up a load of your time, but we're scratching the surface of what makes you you. What would you
Mhm.
want people to remember or to take from this as a go message to how to live their life, or to think to what to remember?
Um, I want people to take away. Uh, I would say the concept of not being afraid, but I don't think it's the absence of fear. Like, I'm scared all the time. Um, I think it's just doing it anyway, doing it afraid. And when something makes you uncomfortable, or scared, just kind of leaning into it and knowing that you're going to come out stronger on the other side. I think that's been one of my biggest lessons, and something I just keep coming to conclusions with, is that when you have a choice of doing an easy thing or a hard thing, choose the hard thing. And yeah, it's just going to serve you. It's going to serve you well in the long run. And then also to keep an open mind, and don't be afraid to try new things. I think we're always searching for concrete truths in rules and things we can abide by, but really there are no concrete truths in life other than change. Things are always going to keep changing, whether you want them to or not. And all we can do is kind of control the direction they're going in, whether you're changing for the good or the worse.
That's the thing, isn't it? Change will always happen. You just have to accept it, deal with it. Fear will always be there. I always say you should name your fear, and just, when it rises up, just say, fuck off, Ernie, or whatever it is, just kind of, once you acknowledge it's there, but it's there to keep you safe, but you kind of just say, okay, thanks for the message. I've controlled myself as much as possible. This is what I'm going to do. And I find that worked for me. I mean, I definitely need to do it again. Like, I need to get back to jiu-jitsu. And I've been holding it off in my head. Oh, I've got a sore back. I've got a sore leg. I'm out of shape. But it's like you're saying, just do the hard thing. Just when it's easy or hard, pick the hard thing. So, yes, thank you for the kick up the arse, I need. So until we can do another one, until we can get you on for multiple interviews where we got other people on as well, what would you want people to do now? Should they ask you to sign up to your Instagram? Should they follow you on YouTube? Are you offering coaching still? Or how can we follow you on this journey that you're going on?
So Instagram is the platform that I'm on the most. You can find me at Carly Wopat. There's only one of me. I do my best to look at DMs if you reach out to me there. And then I also coach through Geiger Coaching. And I'm in a little bit of a building stage, just figuring out some projects I want to start working on there. But I also do one-on-one coaching if that's something you are interested in. You can go to that website.
Well, that's it for another week, and thank you for listening. It's now time to take what you've learned and use it to develop and enhance your life with the key points mentioned. Listen, try it, embrace it, use it, and crush it. Now's your time to hit that next level in your life. If you liked this episode, then please leave a comment on the show notes or a review of the show on your podcast platform. Everything helps evolve the show. Until next week, keep seeking the next level in your life.